The declaration of 2022 as the Year of Nutrition and Food Security is in furtherance of previous AU decisions establishing an African task force on food and nutritional development, as well as drawing up an Africa Regional Nutrition Strategy 2016 to 2025. Speakers at the event were worried that the rising level of food insecurity, climate change, conflicts and the multidimensional effect of the COVID-19 pandemic have gravely impacted economic development and population well-being on the continent, stressing the need for collective action towards addressing the situation. In his intervention at the closed session, President Muhammadu Buhari described as saddening that many years after the world committed to ending hunger, food insecurity and malnutrition, Africa is far from achieving the noble objective. He said health, food security and a flourishing agro-system remain preconditions for development, as well as key yardsticks for achieving Agenda 2063 and the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Nigeria's agricultural policy framework, the President explained, encourages investments in expanding the productive capacity of farmers in view of their crucial roles in poverty alleviation. He said apart from inputs financing, linkages are also created between the farmers, processing plants and ready markets through the Anchor Grower scheme. Earlier at the opening session, President Macky Sall of Senegal took over as chairperson of the African Union from the Congolese leader Felix Tshisekedi. The chairperson of the African Union Commission had in July last year taken a decision to grant Israel observer status at the AU, an action that came barely 2 months after an outbreak of violence in the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Musa Faki Mahamat, in defense of the action, said it is within his sphere of competence and was at the express request of many member states. Nigeria and other countries are, however, dismayed at the lack of sufficient consultation and transparency, especially in view of Africa's strong support for the two-state solution. Records show that President Buhari's Nigeria maintains cordial relations with Israel but remains unflinching in its position on a two-state solution to the crisis between Israel and Palestine, as well as full respect of the human rights of Palestinians. Consequently, to avoid needless division amongst member states on the matter, the African leaders resolved by consensus to suspend the decision taken by the AU chairperson. A committee of 7 African leaders is therefore created to make recommendations to the AU summit, which remains worried over the development. The newly elected chairperson of the African Union and Senegalese leader Macky Sall is to chair the committee. He is therefore expected to take the initiative of launching the works of the high-level committee. In the meantime, the summit, which ended on Sunday, condemned in strong terms the recent wave of military coups in parts of the continent. The African leaders, who described the unconstitutional changes of government as inimical to peace, stability and development, ratified the suspension of Sudan, Guinea, Mali and Burkina Faso from the bloc. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country after a successful outing at the African Union Summit in Ethiopia, the land of origins. He was received on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba, Director General, Department of State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and other senior government officials. As a committed member of the African peer review family, Nigeria is one of the few countries that so far presented its second peer review report. A product of a far-reaching exercise, the report touched on various segments of Nigeria's political economy and highlighted the progress recorded since the first peer review, as well as some challenges.
And as a country, we are prepared to review those challenges in the context of our internal dynamics in Nigeria, ultimately with the determination of achieving Agenda 2063 goals of the African Union.
Consequently, strategic focus will be maintained on building a thriving and sustainable economy, enhancing social inclusion and alleviating poverty, enlarging agricultural output for food security and sufficiency, as well as attaining energy sufficiency in power and petroleum products. The President added that transport and other infrastructural development, business growth, entrepreneurship, as well as industrialization will be expanded, while also enhancing access to quality education, affordable healthcare, social cohesion, and security.
Nigeria remains resolutely committed to achieving these set goals, despite the challenges that the report highlighted, including coronavirus pandemic. I call on other member states to join us and present themselves for review as well. There are so many lessons that we can all learn together. It is from learning these lessons and recommitting ourselves as a continent that we all can contribute to our collective efforts to achieve the objective of the Africa we want.
It was a warm welcome for the former defense minister on arrival at the official residence of the president Tuesday evening. President Muhammadu Buhari and General Theophilus Danjuma walked majestically to the dining table for a private dinner. Shortly after, the president and his guests retired for talks on critical national issues. Details of their discussions held behind closed doors for more than 1 hour were, however, not disclosed. General Danjuma's visit to the State House is coming barely 1 week after one of his mentees, Senator Emmanuel Bacha, came to the president to announce his defection from the PDP to the governing APC.
Senator Danjuma was a great Nigerian. That's all I can say. He's a great Nigerian. So I'm very pleased you are quite close to him. I told him I have been loyal to him when we were in uniform. The most important thing that he appreciated it and he put it on record. That leads to my success professionally and eventually here. Thank you very much indeed. You are genuinely welcome.
General Theophilus Danjuma served as chairman, Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative established by President Muhammadu Buhari. The president also granted audience to the founder and chairman of Oriental Energy Resources Limited, Alhaji Muhammadu Indimi. Alhaji Indimi, a philanthropist, came to express formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the honor done to him by inaugurating some projects he executed in Borno State. They are the 2.5 billion naira state-of-the-art Center for Distance Learning and International Conference Center donated to the University of Maiduguri, as well as an aircraft hangar at Maiduguri International Airport. The comprehensive reports highlight the prevailing challenges of security in Africa and the way forward, including the implementation of what the African Union calls Master Roadmap of practical steps towards silencing the guns. For President Muhammadu Buhari, truncating democracy should also be considered as part of the gravest challenges facing the continent. In his submission during the closed session, the president noted with concern that the AU response, including sanctions, have not achieved their objectives of restoring democratic order in the affected countries and deterring potential coupists. He therefore suggested, amongst others, an adequately resourced and sustainable peace fund, as well as the full operationalization of the continental and regional logistic bases and the Africa Standby Force. He said the finalization of the AU comprehensive strategy for countering terrorism in Africa should also be expedited. In the meantime, Nigeria has been re-elected into the African Union Peace and Security Council for another 3-year mandate to represent the West African sub-region. The country is so far the only one that has sustained the membership of the Peace and Security Council since the inception of the organization in 2004. And on the sidelines of the AU summit, President Muhammadu Buhari granted audience to the Prime Minister of the State of Palestine, Mohammed Shitaye. He said Nigeria will continue to pursue peace and progress in Africa and other parts of the world by consistently pushing for justice, fairness, and inclusiveness in global affairs. The President assured the Prime Minister that the country also remains unwavering in supporting democracy, development, and good governance, particularly in pushing for the tenets of justice as well as the rights of individuals and institutions. Prime Minister Shitaye, who commended President Buhari for his leadership role in Africa, told him that the situation in the Middle East, particularly relations with Israel, had deteriorated over the years, adding that the world needs to know the facts.
The 5th edition of the Nigeria International Energy Summit, NIES 2022, an African Petroleum Technology and Business Conference, and the official energy meeting of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, formerly known as the Nigerian International Petroleum Summit, will take place in Abuja from February 27th to March 3rd, 2022. The special guest of honor is His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. NIES 2022 will be the biggest and best edition to date. There will be a special dinner with other attendee ministers. I will be there to personally welcome you to the Nigeria International Energy Summit, NIES 2022.
Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology is the foremost fisheries and maritime institution in Nigeria in terms of increase in fishing fleet and the need to increase the manpower requirement, indigenous manpower needed for that sector. The government deemed it necessary to transform the college from being a vocational training institution to a full-fledged tertiary institution in 1992, and since that time the college has been operating as a full-fledged tertiary institution with a mandate to award national diploma and higher national diploma in fisheries technology, marine engineering, nautical science, oceanography and fisheries science, maritime transport and business administration, industrial and labor relations, science and laboratory technology, mechanical engineering, computer science, and a host of other maritime-based programs since 1969. Yeah, I just want to thank the President, President Muhammadu Buhari, for his achievement in the economic recovery program of his administration in terms of diversification of the economy, so that agriculture will play a leading role in terms of generating revenue for the country in terms of GDP. And we, in that subset of manpower development, the Federal College of Fisheries have been playing a leading role in this regard since 1969 in this area of manpower development for the fisheries and maritime subsectors of the economy. I want to thank the President for his support, especially to this college, being the foremost fisheries and maritime institution in Nigeria, in terms of ensuring that we have the necessary facilities we have for the development of manpower in the area of fisheries technology, in the area of nautical science, in the area of marine engineering, and a host of other maritime-based programs. You are very much aware the challenges the country is facing in terms of production of fish. And fish, you know that fish is the most important source of protein. And Nigeria has been spending billions of dollars to import fish years back. But with the coming of President Muhammadu Buhari, he has been able to support the fisheries subsectors of the economy. And in the last 3 years of my administration, we've been able to empower or train and empower up to 7,000 trainees in different aspects of aquaculture and fish processing. Trainees we have empowered will now be the kind of food soldiers that will go into the different areas of the country in terms of fish production, fish processing, and with that it's going to reduce the gap we are going to have in terms of domestic production of fish, which will help also to boost the GDP of the country. Over the years, since the past 2 years, I've been the provost of this great institution, been able to improve on the infrastructural and academic development of the college from where we met it. This is a Japanese donated complex since 1992, and this building has been on a 2-floor story building, and we've been able to take it to 3 floors around the complex. And with that, we've been able to increase the number of offices for lecturers. We've been able to increase the number of lecture halls for students. We've been able to also, at the hostel, which is also donated by the Japanese government to do, the Nigerian government has a grant, we've been able to put another floor on top of the hostel, thereby increasing the capacity of the hostel, the number of rooms the students can stay by close to 280 students that can stay on that floor, additional floor. We have added on the existing 2 floors. The college is now well secured because it's being covered network with the CCTV camera all over the campus, and we now have 24 hours power supply courtesy of solar power, which we have been building on in the last 2.5 years. With that, we have 24 hours light in the college, and the students are very happy. We've also been able to put solar street lights around the campuses of the college, and with that, the college is well secured in terms of lightening up the environment. And in the area of manpower development, the college has been able, just like I said, our graduates dominate both the fisheries and the maritime subset of the economy. And this is the area that before now we have foreigners, seafarers that dominate the shipping lines, and now we can boast of our own indigenous experts that can man our vessels, and those capital flights that the government used to pay to the foreign seafarers that man our vessels operating in Nigerian waters can now be manned, and the foreign currency or the hard currency that Nigeria used to spend, to pay the foreign seafarers, can now, with Nigeria now save it, because we are now producing the indigenous expert to man these vessels in our country. And not only that, in the last 2.5 years, the college has been able to train and empower up to 6,000 trainees in various areas of fisheries, aquaculture, and fish processing. And these trainees, when we empower them, they will now, most of them now will start their own cottage or small farm, either backyard fish pond, and they'll be producing their own fish. And that is help to reduce the gap between the fish supply and demand, which before now there is a wide gap. And this we have to key into the agricultural agenda of the federal government, championed by the President Muhammad Buhari, in terms of diversification of the economy, so that the economy will be able to, instead of depending on oil, we have one that can boost our GDP through non-oil sources. And one of this is through fish. And I know that the importance of fish. The fish is the most important source of protein to any animal. And when you eat fish, you have all the nutrients you have. And most of us, when we go to hospital, the doctor will ask you not to eat red meat, go on fish. And because of that, the demand for fish is very high, but the supply is very, very low. Are you getting it? So with this now, the federal government agenda in terms of skill acquisition and empowerment training in fish production and feed making, the college has been at the forefront of training and empowering youth and women in various locations in the country. It's a nationwide training, and we've been going to all parts of the country, training the youth and women on the art of culturing fish, processing fish, and making business out of it. And the products, the people we have trained, we now go out to their various communities and train other people also. And that is how the chain keep on increasing. And by the time you aggregate, let's say we train up to 6,000, at the end of the day we won't get any, at least up to 50% of them practicing fish farming. And that is going to add to the GDP of the country in terms of fish production, and that is going to reduce the capital flight in terms of hard currency going out of the country in terms of importing fish into the country, because now we can produce the fish we can eat in the country instead of importing all the fish the country needs, because fish is in high demand because of the nutrient composition of fish, which is the best source of animal protein. Yeah, the nutritional advantages of taking fish is that fish contains all the essential amino acids and fatty acids and glycerol. It has all the essential nutrients, that can take care of even inflammation, high blood pressure, and other terminal diseases, especially if people are suffering from hypertension, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. If you go to us, the doctor will ease the person off from meat. That's why fish is even the most important source of animal protein, not even meat, not even poultry. So that's why the emphasis of President Muhammad Buhari is how we can increase our domestic fish production, not only to reduce the foreign exchange we spend in terms of importation of fish, but also to increase, to make sure that our citizens are well fed in terms of having good access to nutritious food. Was removed from the debt fund project decades back. We are getting it before until there was an act, removing monotechnics from being the beneficiaries of the debt fund. And I'm appealing to the federal government, President Muhammad Buhari, on this, to see how the monotechnics, especially the fisheries and maritime institutions in Nigeria, how they can benefit. If we are talking of empowering the youth and women, it's only through agriculture. If we are diversifying the economy, it's only through agriculture. And if that fund denies the agri institutions of this all-important fund to enable them to grow, it's very difficult for most of them to attain their desired heights. Here on our own, the federal government has been making a serious effort in terms of increasing our funding every year. Thanks to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed, on this regard. Our funding has increased, and that's why you can see all the infrastructural and the academic development we have in the college today. The other area of concern, challenge we have, is in terms of training vessel. I don't see how we can produce ship captains, marine engineers that man our vessels in both national and international waters, and we don't have a training vessel that can, at least we rely on private shipping lines for this exercise, and it's really a huge expenditure on our part. And if government can make effort, try to see how government can make a special intervention for the college in terms of acquiring a training vessel for the college. Training vessel is very expensive to acquire. I've made try to see how they can get that kind of intervention, but I've not succeeded yet. The other one is also in other marine simulators. The marine simulators are a kind of software that you can use to project a real-life environment, like the ocean or the marine environment, and the vessel, so that we're going to teach the cadets how to pilot the vessel from one end to the other, or how the marine engineer can also, assemble the engine or dismantle or know the workings of the marine engines. The marine simulators cost a whole lot of money. This where we're having one of our biggest challenges, and I pray the federal government will come to our aid in this regard. We'll be doing so much with what we have gotten so far. Just like I told you, some of the infrastructural academic development we have experienced over the years since I took this office as the provost of this great institution. There are so many achievements we have made. Time will not permit me to go through all of them. Some of the projects, when I came in, just as I told you, I was able to look at the needs assessment of the college and the subsectors of the economy. The college, when I took over, we had only 5 programs: the marine engineering, nautical science, fisheries technology, maritime transport and business administration, and industrial and labor relations. And when I do, that's 5 programs. When I took over, based on the needs assessment we did, we've been able to increase it to 11 programs now. We have in the college, and the additional programs are oceanography and fisheries science, mechanical engineering, HND marine engineering. We've never had HND marine engineering. Now HND marine engineering is accredited in the college. We're only 2 institutions in the country that are running HND marine engineering, Oron and the Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology. Before, our students used to go, when they finish their ND here, marine engineering, they go to Oron or other countries, because there are few institutions that are running marine engineering. And but now we can boast of having our own HND marine engineer. So even when the students finish their ND marine engineer, they cannot go for the HND marine engineering, and it's going to boost the manpower development in that subsector, because what it means that we have more expertise in that area that can man marine engines, where of our vessels flying in our waters, even our international waters now. And it's when you have both cargo and the fishing vessels, and that means that there are going to be more fish production, more cargo handling, both nationally and internationally in the country. We also have computer science. You and I know the work of computer scientists. They develop both the software engineering and the hardware engineering, and they also assist in the economic development of the country in the various sectors of the economy. And we also have science laboratory, which is one of the new programs we introduced in the college, and hydrology and water resources management. And why we introduce hydrology and water resources management is, I know the flood control, like the coastal regions. How do you manage, because it's lower than the sea? How do you manage when there is a surge from the ocean or this kind of thing, or when you are doing underground water drilling or borehole? So those are some of the new programs we just introduced in the college as one of our achievements. And the other achievement is that we've been able to expand the college activities. We've been able to establish a new outstation of the college, Tenugu, which we Christian fishery cluster zone and demonstration farm. Here we are to train the locals on how to culture fish, how to produce fish, how to process fish, in a kind of skill acquisition center we are setting up in that area, and also how to empower the youth, so that the crisis we have in the country nowadays. There are a lot of rescue this thing used here and there. So if we are able to catch them young, be able to impart skills on them. They say an idle man is a devil's workshop. When the youth are engaged in terms of having skill which they are practicing, and one of them is fish farming, fish processing, and fish marketing. So when they acquire these skills, they'll be able to produce fish and feed of their own. We give them space in that place to apply the skill they have acquired, or they can go to their location and practice their skill, and their fish production will be increased in the country. Through that area is we have a big dam around that place, so we'll be tapping from the dam to ensure that there is constant water for fish production in that place. So it's on a 20-hectare land, and the progress of work is on advanced stage in that place now. And also our other outstation farm, also we've been able to practice what we call mariculture, where we can farm selected fish species in the marine environment, brackish water environment, which we have in that place. We're able to expand the space so that we have more fish production in that place. And we also been able to increase the fish production system we have currently, and currently we can produce several fingerlings, thousands of fingerlings and table-sized fish per annum, courtesy of the federal government support in terms of boosting fish production in the country, thereby diversifying the economy we have in the country. And we've been able to do also adopt some villages we have around this what we call town and town, where we teach them the art of also how to produce fish or produce feed, or to produce process the fish. And this is how all these villages adopted. We call it adopted village or schools, where you train these villagers how to produce fish, how to process the fish better. The schools, you adopt some schools and put them through how to culture fish. That's catching them young, the school program, so that they will be interested in the art of fish farming at the early stage. So if every one of us is even practicing fish farming, even in our own backyard, the several thousands of tons of fish the country will be producing, and that is how we bridge the gap, the supply and demand gap in terms of fish production. There are many, they say no institution is an island. We collaborate with many, both national and multilateral agencies. We collaborate with our parent body, the Agri Research Council of Nigeria, and the ministry. We also collaborate with the MASA, who regulates especially the professional programs in nautical science and marine engineering and maritime transport and business administration. We collaborate with National Board for Technical Education that regulate our academic programs, and this we've been doing for decades. The institution has been in place, and also the JICA, Japanese International Corporation. There was time they were assisting, just like I told you, they donated the whole of this complex we are in, which used to be 2 floors before. When I came in, they made it 3 floors, ran the both the admin block, the hostel complex, and the lecture rooms complex, thereby increasing the number of offices and the lecture halls and the number of accommodation the students we have in the hostel, and that is going to make room to accommodate more students into the college, into these new programs we've started in the college. Yeah, some of the CSR projects are, as I said, we have what we call the adopted villages and the schools, where we use them as model institutions of villages on how to culture fish or produce fish and feed. They can now, some of these villages are around the Bejuleki, mostly where we have one of our campuses around that place. We've been able to train the villagers how to produce fish and feed, and also some of them have set up their own small scale fish farm close to our campus at Bejuleki in Ibolomi. So, and in terms of supporting the federal government drive against COVID-19, as an institution, we've done a lot in that regard, and one of this thing is to we've been able to, once the federal government gave the directive in terms of the COVID-19, the college set up anti-COVID-19 committee to make sure that they comply with the necessary rules and regulations guarding against the spread of the virus, and we've been able to set up hand washing points in the different parts of the campus where students and staff can go, and also before you enter you must wash your hands and also put on your face mask before you enter the district. Fellow Nigerians, COVID-19 is real. This is my first mask. Go and take your vaccine at the nearest center close to you, and when you do that, the spread of COVID-19 will be reduced in the country. The college is just as I said, the college is the foremost fisheries and maritime institution in Nigeria, highly specialized in the trade development of manpower in fisheries and maritime programs. And the college has been doing this since 1968, when it was established as a vocational training institute, before it was transformed to a full-fledged tertiary institution due to the needs in the fisheries and maritime subsectors of the economy to develop the indigenous expertise to man the maritime and fisheries sectors of the economy, thereby reducing the foreign exchange which the country has been spending on paying foreign seafarers who have been manning our vessels, fishing vessels and our ocean-going vessels over the decades. And the college also is unique in the sense that fish, being the most important source of protein anywhere in the world, the demand is always very high. And one of the most ways of diversifying the economy is through fish production. And this, I want to thank President Muhammad Buhari for supporting the college over these years in terms of boosting the manpower development of this great institution. We've been able to train many thousands of trainees in the art of fish farming and fish processing. And these people, graduates we have trained now, will be able to go to their various localities all over the country to produce their own fish, and that will going to help to reduce the fish and fish supply and demand gap we have in the country, thereby saving the needed foreign exchange the country has been using to import fish over the decades. Fellow Nigerians, join me in thanking His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari for all his support in transforming the agricultural sector of the country in terms of fish production, which is the sector we belong to. Before his coming, I know how the college used to be, but with the coming of President Muhammad Buhari, the college has witnessed tremendous growth over these years in terms of infrastructure and academic development of the college, which the college has never witnessed over the decades. So I wish to enjoin every Nigerian to thank His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari and the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed, for the support they have been giving to the agricultural sector in the country.